Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So I thought I'd do this video just to give you an update regarding the threatening letters received from Red Industries yesterday. So since receiving the letter, I have took a lot of advice, including advice off the man himself, Marty Bladbury. So I'm just waiting for a few more calls regarding the advice on that, but to give you an update what's happened this morning, there's been an interview from someone else that's received one of the letters on BBC Radio Stoke. Currently on my way down to the landfill to meet BBC Midlands today regarding the letters that everybody's received. So what I'll do is I'll stick a clip in here now of the interview from today of Audrey talking to BBC Radio Stoke, and I'll be back with you.
42 on the show.
Stop this thing! Stop this thing! Stop this thing! Stop this thing! Stop.
Now that's the sound of protests outside Walleys Quarry landfill in Silverdale. People living there are fed up with the smell and have been, let's just say, making their feelings known for months outside of the gates on Cemetery Road. We did the show from there a month or so ago, but if they carry on making their feelings known there, they're now facing big fines or at worst imprisonment, would you believe. The owners have issued High Court papers warning protesters to stop or face legal action. Producer Matt is here as ever. What is going on, Matthew? Why have these letters been sent?
So they've been sent out by solicitors who work for the landfill's owners. BBC Radio Stoke's been shown one of these letters that one person's received. We've been told that about 7 people have got them. It's about a planned protest for Friday. The owners basically want to stop people gathering outside the entrance on Cemetery Road, which of course is where they usually gather. It says because their employees are being intimidated, it wants them to be able to come and go as they please and go about their work without interference. We know that protesters in the past have stood in front of lorries, stopping them going in and out of the site, and that's what the owners of Walleys Quarry want to stop. They don't want anyone standing outside anymore.
What does the letter say exactly?
So it's basically asking people who've protested outside to agree to demands in writing by 4 o'clock today, basically to sign an agreement that they won't go protesting. They're telling them not to trespass on the site, not to interfere with any cars or lorries coming in and out of the site, and not to protest anywhere near the entrance on Cemetery Road. So as you mentioned, we were down there a few weeks ago along the road. It's quite a long stretch of road, but they're being told they need to stay away from that near vicinity around the entrance. So it basically means that they won't be allowed to stand on the public pavements outside. They won't be allowed to go on a public road and protest. So they're asking them to sign this letter to agree to not protest. If they don't sign it, basically the letter says that the landfill owners can take them to court, and any other protesters that don't abide by these rules as well. Basically they'll take them to court, and they're looking maybe at a big fine, as you mentioned, potentially imprisonment, which of course takes it to the absolute extreme. But yeah, imprisonment is one of the options that is on the list here.
Well, Audrey Young lives a mile away from the landfill on Cemetery Road. She got sent this letter along with her son. Morning, Audrey.
Good morning.
How's that left you feeling, getting that letter?
It's made me quite angry, actually, that they're trying to take our rights away. It totally came out the blue, but I'm not going to be bullied by them. I'm still going to protest under our human rights. They're allowed to carry on poisoning the community, but we're not allowed to protest against it when the High Court's proved that they're poisoning us. So it came out, it's just made me angry, really, and more determined.
I can imagine. How much have you been protesting over the last few weeks, last few months?
We haven't actually protested since you did your last roadshow there. So we could allow them to carry out the works of the posi shell and everything. So we've left them so that they couldn't play the victim card and say that the works weren't completed because of us, if that makes sense. Yeah,
completely. As a resident, though, now, it's left you feeling quite angry. What do you do next?
I'm not going to be replying by 4 o'clock today. They haven't given any of us enough time to seek legal advice. With only receiving the letters yesterday afternoon, and I'm not going to be intimidated along with others, and we're going to go and protest as normal tomorrow.
So that is going to have no impact at all. It's not going to put you off. You are going to go and protest as if this letter doesn't exist.
Yes, I am. I can't explain it. I wouldn't have actually gone and protested yesterday if we hadn't received this letter. But it's just like added fuel to the fire now. It's like they can get away with all these breaches and all this, but we can't get away with protesting. We've had lorries that have drove into us at protest. We protested at the office and they brought a canine dog out to us without any signs there to say that there was one on the land. We all had to get them to take this dog to the vets because he was injured once he got him out the car and things. It's like one rule applies to them and another applies to us.
Have you taken legal advice, Audrey?
We have a little bit, but obviously the timing, it didn't come till yesterday afternoon. So quite a few who had the letters are not going to be protesting. But, you know, I've just thought, no, I'm not going to have a voice taken away. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself with others of the community, because it does affect us all still.
It sounds like you're just living in the middle of a nightmare.
We are. But, you know, they're obviously a well-profited company from everybody else's pain, so they can afford all this legal advice. But they're not going to intimidate us or not get away with not giving us chance to get legal advice. So, you know, why should we not exercise our right to protest?
All right. Stay safe. We'll stay in touch with you. Audrey, thank you for coming on the show. Audrey, who lives about a mile away from that landfill site in Silverdale, got a letter yesterday saying she'll be facing legal action if she protests, says she won't be intimidated, saying she's still going to protest. If you're listening from that part of the area this morning, we'd love to know how you feel about it too.
So guys, just to give you a little update, been down, just still here at the landfill. We have spoke to the BBC, you can see in the distance there. That will be aired at 6:30 tonight on BBC One on Midlands Today. If any of you'd like to tune in and watch, hopefully I get this video up before then. But also to give you a little update on the legal side of this letter. I spoke to a number of solicitors over the morning, and just waiting to receive a call back from one who's going to give me some legal advice regarding the letter. There's a couple of options I've got down in the back at the moment, but as time's ticking, I'll let you know what happens and if the deadline's met, of contacting them before 4 o'clock. So guys, back home, managed to have time now to speak to the legal team. They've pointed me in the direction that I should reply to this letter by email by 4 o'clock today. Just for the simple reason is it could be a scare tactic, but it's a gamble. If they were to go for the injunction and they did get it, could be liable for a fair few grand court fine, which obviously we don't want and we don't need right now. So yeah, that's where I am regarding the letter. I sent a letter response to a David Holland at that company at 18 minutes past 12 this afternoon to the email address provided on the letter. So I will also put a screenshot in here, just proof that I have sent the email. So as you can see, the email has gone, but I'm afraid I won't be, as I say, at the protest this Friday. But I wish everybody well that does go to the protest. And don't forget, guys, if you are available and you can get down to the protest, it's on Friday outside the landfill. It is a peaceful protest, guys. So if you can get down, please go down and support. But also just want to say a big well done to Audrey for her interview on BBC Radio Stoke, which you listened to earlier. Also for the interview that she did to BBC Midlands today, which if you tune in at 6:30, you'll get to see that. Also well done to Nathan Wint on his interview. You'll get to see that 6:30 as well. I'm also going to attach an interview from Dr. Mick Salt to BBC Radio Stoke this afternoon. Very well worth a listen, guys. So I will attach that in right now here.
Stop the stink! Stop the stink! Stop the stink!
That's the sound of protests outside Walleys Quarry landfill in Silverdale. People living there are fed up with the smell. They've been making their feelings known for months now, outside the gates on Cemetery Road. But if they carry on, they're now facing big fines, or at worst, imprisonment. The owners have issued High Court papers warning protesters to stop or face legal action. Producer Matt's with us to explain what's going on here. Morning, Matt. First of all, why have these letters been sent?
Morning, Stu. Yes, so these are letters which have been sent by solicitors who were working on behalf of the landfill owners, Red Industries, and they relate to a specific protest which was planned for Friday. Now, BBC Radio Stoke's been shown a letter one person's received, and we've been told that altogether 7 people have got them. Essentially, the owners want to stop the protesters gathering outside the entrance on Cemetery Road, which is where they normally gather, because it says their employees are being intimidated and it wants them to be able to go about their business and their work without any interference. And we know in the past protesters have stood in front of the entrance, blocking lorries, stopping them from going in and out of the site.
What does this letter say then?
So as I say, 7 people altogether have received it as far as we're aware, and it's asking those people who have received it to agree to some demands in writing by 4 p.m. today. Those demands being not to trespass on the site, interfere with any cars or lorries coming to and from the site, and not to protest anywhere near the entrance on Cemetery Road. So that means they won't be able to stand on a public pavement, a public road and protest. If they don't sign it and agree, the letter says the landfill owners will go to court to prevent them, and I quote, any other protesters from gathering there. The letter says if they break this possible court injunction and do protest, they risk a fine or imprisonment or both.
Matt, thank you. Well, I've been speaking to one of the Stop the Stink campaigners, Mick Salt. He hasn't received a letter personally, but he has seen a copy of it.
I find it a very bizarre move, actually, because there was actually no one planning to disrupt the access to the site or indeed Cemetery Road. So all it seems to have done is sort of re-galvanise the community into action. I mean, on sort of Facebook and Twitter, it's going absolutely crazy about this. So it should have actually, I think it's actually instigated quite a good turnout for this Friday's protest, which will be at 9 o'clock outside the entrance to the landfill site, but on the other side of the road, not the gate side of it.
So where the letter itself says it doesn't want people blocking access to the site itself and suggesting in the past there may have been trespass incidents, none of that will happen on Friday?
No, it doesn't plan to anyway.
Do you think this is heavy-handed on behalf of the owners of the landfill?
Oh, absolutely, hugely heavy-handed. And it just makes a bit of a mockery that they put out this community charter that they wish to engage with the community, and then, you know, they do this sort of thing. It's very interesting, actually. Towards the end of the letter, they say that members of Stop the Stink, and they're all, as Resident Association representatives, have on a number of occasions been invited to the liaison group meetings. Now, I am actually on that liaison group, But before this last meeting, I was actually reminded by email that I'm an observer only and may not ask questions. And actually, in the meeting itself, I was about to answer someone's question, actually, not ask a question myself. And it was reiterated to me, but basically, shut your mouth.
So has this really damaged relations further between the owners and the protesters?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. And it says in the letter as well to meet with clients on the site. I've been asking for another invite to the site, but just they're not actually honouring those invites anymore.
How has the group responded to this? Have you sought legal advice on what you can or can't or should or shouldn't be doing when it comes to protesting?
Yes, we have. We had Barrister Mark MacDonald gave a talk at Nutton Club a few months ago. I think it was in August sometime. And yes, his thoughts were that if you block the gates, then prepare to be arrested. But as for protesting on the far side of Cemetery Road, on the actual cemetery side, it's not a problem at all. It's your human right. As for seeking legal advice for this particular letter, Squire Patton Boggs, the solicitors, they want a response by 4 p.m. today, which does not give adequate scope for people to seek that legal advice. So it's not only heavy-handed; it's sort of disproportionate in what's expected of the people to respond to these letters.
Do you see this letter as an infringement of your human rights and your right to protest?
I'm not really qualified to say that, but yeah, it does look like they're trying to seek a deliberate injunction, a bit like they did with the Insulate Britain protesters with the M25. And so if they get that injunction, that may even cover sort of generally the area of Cemetery Road and perhaps even sort of exclusion radii around their offices as well, which that I think is an infringement of the human rights. After all, the pollution from their site doesn't obey boundaries. So to sort of put in arbitrary boundaries like that, I think that would be an infringement of our human right to protest.
And what's the smell like at the moment? Because it's quite easy for those of us who don't live in the area to think, oh, it's gone away, they've capped it, they've done this, that and the other. Does it still stink?
It isn't as bad. It's not as bad. We had an incident around about bonfire night where there was a good 24 hours of things being quite terrible and unbearable for people in the sort of Silverdale and Norton areas. But more recently, it's improved, and I can't smell it currently. But I am going to the landfill site in about half an hour's time, so I can call you back and let you know.
Mick Salt, one of the campaigners from Stop the Stink, concerned about Walleys Quarry in Silverdale. We have approached Red Industries, which owns the site, for a comment. We're still waiting to hear back from them. If this is something that affects you, maybe you've received one of these letters from a legal firm, I think in London, I've got the address somewhere, then do let me know. And is it right to be suggesting to people that if they want to protest, if they want to stop vehicles getting in and out of Walleys Quarry, which, as Matt pointed out, we have seen video evidence of in the past, people standing and sort of in front of the entrance, 0800 121 80 80 is the number to ring. You can text 81333. Start your message with the word Stoke. If you're doing that, you'll be charged your standard message rate. It does say in the letter, our clients recognise that people have the right to protest peacefully, but they also recognise their obligations and wish to assert their rights to ensure that protesters do not intimidate their staff, hinder their workforce from carrying out lawful jobs, or attempt to close down or impede their business. So, in a sense, this is one group's rights against another, isn't it? Who do you feel has the right to do what on this? And if you've ever been involved in a protest, what's it like? How is it, when you're there on the front line or the back line, protesting on a march for or against anything? There have been many over the years. 0800 121 80 80, the number to call.
If you're
So that about wraps it up, guys. We'll just wait to see if we get a response from these guys. I would just like to say a big thank you to Stop the Stink.Fighting for our community's legal team for writing the letter of response for myself. That is, as I say, and you've seen evidence has been sent over. Also, big thanks to you guys on the comments underneath on the last video regarding this letter. Much love and big respect for the support, guys. So, as I say, if anyone wants to go to the protest, that is happening on Friday. I won't be there, unfortunately. If you'd like to see more about the Stop the Stink, please head over to the Facebook group. I will stick a link in the description down below. I will keep you updated on this as we go. That's if we hear anything else from the guys, but I will keep you updated in a later video, and hopefully we can attend the next protest after this one. So until next time, guys, see you in the next one.